Sensational.
Comment and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Combs is a bitch,
Yeah.
right? And I think the men who are around him and knew he was that, they bitches too. Conversation when he was brought up by Floyd Mayweather and some of the things he was saying is like, no, if he did those things, he's a monster. If he did those things, he should rot in jail. And it's not to say that he should be in a place to where he could never be forgiven. That's between him and God. That's between him and Cassie. But we can look at that as men and say that some things you don't get to come back from. And the video is so telling, right? Because she's escaping, right? Like she's not, it's not one of those things where you're in a situation where you could tell somebody, hey, I'm leaving you, or hey, I don't want to be here, and you can walk out and not fear for your life, right? Like you watch TV shows where people running from war and running from things that people are trying to kill them, trying to hurt. That's what that woman was doing. Right? And then he pulls her down and he's stumping her. Bro, I'm a grown man who is perfectly fine defending himself. But even if I'm fighting somebody right now that I dislike, I'm not gonna fucking stomp you on the ground. And it brings into mind like all the other whole shit he's ever done publicly. All the ways that he's used his power, all the ways that he's disrespected people and treated people, and you let him do that because of his power. And now you know that this woman has been living with this for years. And those bruises heal, right? But emotionally, mentally, the trauma that she's experienced, and then to come out after all these years and finally have the courage to say something about it, to do something about it, to in some way try to recoup some of your dignity, in some way try to recoup what he took from you. Now you got to hear everybody in the world doubt that you ever went through those things. Yeah. And when you look at some of the affidavits and read some of the things of the civil cases, you can look at those things and say, you know what? He's just in some way perverted. Maybe those things aren't things that broach illegalities. Maybe some of those things aren't things that are immorally wrong. But to beat that woman like that, someone who's clearly scared of you, someone who's clearly in fear, someone who's clearly afraid, and you think that make you a fucking man? And so for me, there is no coming back from it. For me, there is no it's ever going to be okay. For me, all our prayers, all our thoughts should be with that woman. All our thoughts should be with her husband, who in some way is going to have to try to help that woman heal from what the fuck that man did. And I think it's a lesson to all of us that we definitely want people to be innocent until proven guilty. But we have to be fair in the way that we assess it and understand that two people are going through it until we know. And more than anything, a lot of times something has happened to these women. They're going through something, and we have to be fair to them to wait and to at least know that this or that happened before we start calling them liars, before we start defending people just because we have the same melanin in our skin. I will never in any way defend him, vouch for him, give him any sort of grace when it comes to this. He owes that woman, all women, his children, and then want to be in front of people acting like he loved her, acting like he cared about her when she's walking around in fear, bro. It's one of the more fucked up things I'd ever seen. And he is a bitch to me forever. Period, point blank.
Clark, my colleague at ESPN, went on his podcast, The Pivot, and called P. Diddy a bitch. I'm quoting. That's what he said. I didn't say that. He said that. I watched The Breakfast Club and Charlamagne the God and them. Charlamagne's like, nah, man, he was 46 years old. Stop giving him a pass. He knew what he was doing. While, Jessica and DJ Envy were like, he needs help. Not that they were giving them a pass, because they certainly weren't. You got bodyguards former bodyguards or whatever, being interviewed by Piers Morgan, and they're talking about, no, there were incidents with him and his ex, Kim Porter, who's now deceased. You got people wondering what happened to Biggie. You got people wondering what really, really happened to Kim Porter. And then you got stars all over the place who will remain nameless, who were constantly seen in the presence of P. Diddy. You can't put an APB out for them right now. They can't be found. And people are wondering why about them, when it's in all likelihood, they're completely innocent of anything anybody might be thinking. But because of their association with him, that's what it is. And then you have folks looking at all the things that have transpired. And what's conspicuous, what's flagrant in everybody's eyes is you hear no one speaking up on his behalf. Before the video came out. So if they didn't speak up on his behalf before the video came out, you know what the next question is? Why? Did you know what was in the video? Did you know a video exists? Did you know what was happening? That's what people are thinking. I believe in second chances. I believe we all make mistakes. My biggest caveat, or I should say my biggest issue with Diddy, is that what he specifically apologized for is what he specifically lied about in testimony this past December, claiming that it was her and others trying to seek a payday. Nobody's going to believe a single word he's saying. And I think it was TMZ or somebody that saw him out with somebody else going for a walk, and he was coming back to his spot, and he just waved off the camera. You don't want to be seen on camera if you P. Diddy, don't go out in public. Because camera's going to roll everywhere he goes from now on. He might as well pull a Russell Simmons and leave the country. Seriously. Ain't no peace for him this way. I'm talking about in this country. Right now, it's bad. He might have his money, but that wasn't what P. Diddy was about. P. Diddy was about that cachet, that imagery. The fact that he rolled up. I mean, you saw the way he dressed. You saw the way he flossed. You know the parties. I know the parties he's thrown, all of that other stuff. Come on, y'all. He can't do that now. Hell, with throwing a party, he can't go to a party. They'd stop the party if he showed up. That's how bad it is. I'm not joking about it. I'm not maligning him. I'm not insulting him or anything like that. I'm saying that's how bad it is. That's a fact. And we can't ignore that, no matter how hard we try. The problem is we try to ignore it.
P.Diddles ain't never gonna recover from this, and a lot of people hope that he doesn't. While Cassie seems to have moved on and is settling into family life, that past just can't be forgotten, man. And we can only hope that she finds some healing and some solitude soon. Being a survivor ain't easy.
Coming like a motherfucker. They coming like, but everything's on tape. Everything's on tape. That's why I love Puff so much, because everything is on tape. You ain't going to jail. You mean? You want this deal? Take that. Puff ain't getting touched. Don't you understand that? Puff is not going to jail. Puff is not going to jail. We recorded, we recorded all these. It was from every big top masters and everything, Puff. I'm sorry. Bro, we got the masters on everybody that he ever dealt with. Ever dealt with. And we got the masters. Don't nobody want to play with that. Okay? So let's go back. If I own the masters to everybody, right? If I have the masters to everybody, am I Bill Cosby? Oh, they damn sure coming, ain't they?
The show goes on!
Pretty.
Bye, Felicia.
Be the best you can be. Love your family, love your friends. Spread love, not violence, not this virus. As always, peace.